listen to this. So we have completed the introduction part, and now we are moving to the disciplic succession. Now, what is disciplic succession? What do you understand by that word? The literal English meaning of this term, disciplic succession.
Guru Parampara.
Comes from Guru Parampara.
Yes, Guru Parampara. Disciplic is student, right? One student or the other, and how do they succeed from one guru to the other? So disciplic succession, right? Evam parampara praptim, evam rajeshu viduhu. This Bhagavad Gita, as it is received through the disciplic succession. So where did this knowledge of Bhagavad Gita come from? It's given right here. It's coming from Krishna himself, right? There are 4 sampradayas in Vaishnava Sampradaya. Does anyone know the names of the 4 sampradayas?
Kumar, Gaudiya Sampradaya, Rudra Sampradaya,
Sri Sampradaya.
Okay.
Kumar, Shri Sampradaya, the Lakshmi.
I heard Shri Sampradaya, I heard Rudra Sampradaya, which is the 3rd and 4th one. What is
Gaudiya
the Sampradaya?
Mataji. Gaudiya Sampradaya, Mataji.
What's the full name?
Uh,
What's the full name of Gaudiya Sampradaya?
Vaishnava Sampradaya.
Kumar
Brahma Vaishnava Sampradaya.
No.
Gaudiya Sampradaya.
You got the Brahma part right.
Yes.
Gaudiya
I'll give you a,
Gaudiya Sampradaya.
Brahma
I'll give
Gaudiya
you
Sampradaya.
a Brahma,
Brahma
Madhva.
Madhva.
Yes, Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Okay.
Thank you,
What's the
Mataji.
4th one?
Kumaras.
Kumara Sampradaya.
Kumaras.
Yes. So all these 4 sampradayas originate from one person. Who is that?
Krishna.
Krishna. Yes. So Krishna spoke this initially to Lord Brahma, and then Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya started. And Krishna spoke to Lakshmi, and then Shri Sampradaya started. Krishna spoke to Rudra, then Rudra Sampradaya has started. And then Krishna spoke to the 4 Kumaras, and the 4 Kumara Sampradaya has started. Right? But we in ISKCON, we are part of the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. Okay, because our Mula Guru is Brahma. Okay, Brahma started this Sampradaya. Now, Brahma, as you know, he is the secondary creator. Who's the primary creator then?
Krishna.
Krishna, right? So Brahma is a secondary creator because he creates whatever setup is required within this material world, the different 14 planetary systems, the 3 worlds, whatever is required within these 3 worlds to manage the living entities. So Brahma is a secondary creator within this universe alone. Now, like this one Brahma that we have for this universe, there are many, many, many Brahmas. Okay, but it so happens that the Brahma that is part of our Kalpa today is one of the purest devotees of the Lord. Now, being a Brahma is also a position, right? Remember that. And he is come from Krishna directly, and he comes from the Nabi, Padma Nabha. So Krishna has a Padma in his Nabha, which is the navel, and from that Brahma originates. Right? So this is how Brahma has come. And Brahma is meditating on Krishna tells him only one word. When he opens his eyes, he's seeing only darkness everywhere. So Krishna tells him, he hears a voice that says tapa. And understanding that, Brahma starts meditating on Krishna. And this way, Krishna is able to give him all the instructions required for him to set up the universe. And from there, Brahma starts his creation process. So he's the secondary creator. Now, the second in line, or third in line over here is Narada. Narada is who?
Son of Brahma.
Son of Brahma. He's a Manasa Putra of Brahma. Now, unfortunately, in our we have gone through a series of social structure, especially across the 50s, 60s, and 70s, where anything Hindu was made fun of, right? People were glorifying the Muslims, they were glorifying the Mughals, how they ruled India, how they established. Tipu Sultan was for the longest time glorified in our textbooks. And Narada, people like Narada became a laughing stock in our movies. He was constantly portrayed as this person who goes slyly to Sampada other, some person or the other tries to poke them, instigates a fight-like situation, and he has fun in that manner. So many Hindus, unfortunately, have badly fallen into this trap of thinking that Narada is very small. He's like a joker among the demigods, right? But that's a very poor way of constructing our Hindu society. Our parents, unfortunately, many of them might have fallen into that kind of social structure where they were constantly pumped with all these ideas of how Hindu is always a terrorist, or a person who comes in a monk-like dress is shown like a very bad person in the movies. A bandit or a dacoit is one who has a big tilak on his forehead, right? Whereas a Muslim person comes across as a very friendly chacha, Khan. They do all the right things. They are very friendly neighborhood. So unfortunately, we have been pumped with that kind of mind or thinking process for a very long time. And the Hindu society is finally recovering from that kind of beating. Right? Finally, Hinduism, some kind of awareness is coming. And finally, people are realizing the importance of Narada Muni. Right? Remember, Narada Muni is called a Gandharva. Why? Because he's always traveling to preach the glories of the Lord, to bring many to Krishna consciousness. He has many, many glorified students, disciples, right? Can some of you name few of them? Who are the prominent disciples of Narada?
Mataji, Prahalada.
Prahlad Maharaj, yes. Prahlad Maharaj is one prominent. Who else?
Dhruva
Dhruva.
Maharaj.
Dhruva. Vedavyasa.
Vedavyasa, correct. Who wrote Ramayana?
Valmiki.
Valmiki. So before that, Ramayana was written. He was actually a hunter called Ratnakara, right? And because he was, Narada preached to him, he then became Valmiki and he wrote Ramayana. And because Narada preached to Vyasadeva, we get the Srimad Bhagavatam, we get all the Vedas, right? And because Narada preached to the Prachetas, we can see how nicely the Prachetas are able to meditate on the Lord, and they come, they sit and, they go to meditate, and there they meet Lord Shiva and they get the Rudra Gita from there, right? So many exalted devotees have come in because of their association with Narada. So let's not minimize the position of Narada. In fact, when you see such kind of entertainment where Narada is put down, we should be deeply offended and make sure that, we don't continue to be part of that process of bringing the position of Narada down, right? The next guru in our sampradaya is Vyasa. Does anyone know the full name of Vyasa?
Maharshi Vedvyas, Mataji.
Okay. I'll give a hint. Krishna,
Dvaipayana.
Dvaipayana, Vyasa, Deva. Yes, Veda Vyasa. Okay, why is he called Krishna, Dvaipayana, Veda Vyasa?
Because he was born to Maharshi Parikshit. No.
Parag-
Wasn't Vyasa himself Krishna? And Narada also? Am I...
Sorry, what about Narada?
Narada and Vyasa both are Krishna only, right, Mataji?
No, Narada is not Krishna. Narada is actually a Jiva Tattva. So he's not same as Krishna.
But Veda Vyasa is Krishna himself.
He's Krishna himself. He's the incarnation of Krishna. But he actually got the name Krishna because he had a color similar like Krishna, right? He was dark complexion like Krishna. And Dvaipayana, does anyone know why he got the name Dvaipayana?
He was born in that island, Mataji.
Yes, he was born he was a son to Parashara and Satyavati, and he was born in an island. So he's called or Dvipa. So he's called Dvaipayana. Now, what's the meaning of the word Vyasa?
Teacher? I'm just guessing.
Essay.
Sorry?
Yeah. Vyasam. Essay. ESSAY.
Is it something related to what he's written, Mataji?
Yes, he's
Written
written
so many scriptures.
Yes.
So, and everything is based on Krishna.
Mhm.
So, and all those scriptures are the mool mantra for the human beings as such. So, is it because of that?
Mm, not
Hare
completely, but
Krishna.
you were touching something close by.
Hare Krishna, Mataji. Because he had explained everything in detail, all the Puranas, Vedas.
Okay. Okay.
Vyasa.
So Vyasa actually
Vyasa.
is the position. Okay, it's not a name, it's a position. Okay, so different people in different kalpas, they take on the position of Vyasa Deva, right? Fortunately, in this kalpa, Krishna took the position of Vyasa. Okay, so we are again fortunate, just like the Brahma this time is the purest of devotees. Even in this kalpa, Vyasa Deva also happens to be Krishna. So it's not confirmed that every kalpa Krishna himself will be Vyasadeva, but in this kalpa, Krishna is Vyasadeva. The name word Vyasa means division, one who divides. Okay, so till that time, till Veda Vyasa started writing so many scriptures, we had just 4 Vedas, nothing, no other scriptures. But he started dividing them, right? He divided them into so many Upanishads, of which 108 Upanishads are very prominent. And then we have so many Puranas, we have so many other scriptures, we have the Itihasas. So Veda Vyasa is the one who divided all the scriptures, or sorry, the Vedas, and gave us the different simplified versions of the scriptures. You see that? Hence the name Veda Vyasa. He's the one who split the Vedas and gave us all these other scriptures, right? So that's why Veda Vyasa is a position, and because of his color, he's also known as Krishna Dvaipayana Veda Vyasa. Okay, now the next person in this line over here is Madhva. Madhva. So Madhva, now we know that Vyasadeva was initiated by Narada. Madhva, however, Madhvacharya, he is not really initiated by Vyasadeva. His initiating or the Diksha Guru is someone else, someone called as Achyuta Preksha. He comes from the Madhva Sampradaya itself. But he accepted Vyasadeva as a Shiksha Guru. So you should understand this lineage that we see here, disciplic succession. It does not mean that this is the line in which Diksha was given. This is the line of, in ISKCON especially, more prominence is given to the Shiksha Sampradaya. Okay, more than Diksha itself, the Shiksha Sampradaya is very prominent. So when you look at this disciplic succession, you should understand that here as well, Madhva is the Shiksha disciple of Vyasadeva. Okay, so he accepted Vyasacharya as his Shiksha Guru. And it said that this Madhvacharya, he went all the way till Badrikashram, and where Vyasadeva was sitting and meditating, he found the place where Vyasadeva was sitting and meditating, and there he was initiated, or he studied under Vyasadeva. So this is how they established their disciplic succession. Okay, the next in line we have Padmanabha, Narahari, Madhava, and Akshobhya. Now, all 4 of these people you see over here, again, were initiated by Madhvacharya. Okay, the only difference is Padmanabha Tirtha, he was a more senior devotee. So Padmanabha Tirtha, he accepted, took Shiksha from Madhva. He was Madhvacharya as both Diksha Guru as well as Shiksha Guru for Padmanabha Tirtha. And Narahari, though he's initiated by Madhvacharya, Diksha, he took Shiksha from Padmanabha. Similarly, Madhava, he's initiated by Madhvacharya, but he took Shiksha from Narahari. See the flow. And Akshobhya, he took Shiksha from Madhava. So Padmanabha was very senior. The next senior was Narahari, Madhava, Akshobhya. So this way, they all are god brothers to each other, but they also happen to be Shiksha Gurus. So this is a very common practice in ISKCON today as well, where you might have some senior devotees within who's, or devotees who are taken Diksha from the same Guru, but they accept each other as Shiksha Gurus. right? And some people might be more senior, more learned, so they accept such people as Shiksha Guru. So this is how Padmanabha Tirtha is very prominent back in his time for spreading or establishing the Dvaita Vedanta Sutras. So he is famous for that. And then there is Narahari, Madhava, and Akshobhya. So all these people are in line of, but in our Madhva Sampradaya, Madhva becomes a Mula Guru then. And then further down, you can see Akshobhya. Now this Akshobhya is actually an incarnation of none other than Dhruva Maharaj. Okay, Dhruva Maharaj was, give me a second. So this Akshobhya, there is further down over here, there's also somebody called Vyasa Tirtha, correct? So Akshobhya, the outside Bangalore, there's a place called Mulabagilu. Okay, it's on the outskirts of, has anyone been to this place, Mulabagilu?
Yes, Mataji.
Yes. So this Mulabagilu was originally established by this Vyasa Tirtha, all the way down, 18 number, right? But Akshobhya, back in those days, there was a very renowned scholar called Vidyaranya. Okay, so this Vidyaranya was very famous for spreading his Advaita philosophy. So everyone requested Akshobhya to go and meet him in Mulabagilu and defeat him. Right. So Akshobhya, he visited Mulabagilu. Back then, there's Mulabagilu temple wasn't there, but and Akshobhya felt that he needs to pray to Lord Narsimha naturally because he is Dhruva Maharaj, right? So he's what he did then. He's an incarnation of Prahlad Maharaj, not Dhruva Maharaj. So what he did on a rock, he took a charcoal, he started drawing a picture of Narsimha, and from that charcoal image, Lord Narsimha emerged. Okay, and this Narsimha is still there in Mulabagilu temple. Okay, so this later on, Vyasa Tirtha visited this place and then he set up the Hanuman temple there. And that's how we have the Hanuman and Narsimha temple in Mulabagilu today. So Akshobhya Tirtha is that person. Now this further down, you see Jaya Tirtha. Now Jaya Tirtha has a very interesting story. It said that Madhvacharya, whenever he went on for book distribution or his, from one place to the other, he had to carry a lot of scriptures with him. So he had a bull, a very strong, big, gigantic bull. So naturally, because he's written so many scriptures, people, his students especially, they started approaching him and asking him, who is this? And who is going to be the next person who's going to write commentary, translations, and all that things for your scriptures? Because it's very important scriptures, and somebody has to write commentaries on this, right? So in other words, they were saying, can I do it? Because I'm eligible. Each of them felt a little puffed up and thought that, Madhvacharya will select them. But instead, Madhva pointed out to the bull. This bull would always go from one yatra to the other. Every place that Madhvacharya went to preach, this bull would always be here, right? And it was listening attentively to Madhvacharya without any kind of, any kind of sinful thoughts, not trying to, be one up with his guru or trying to prove his importance. Very silently in a corner, this bull will sit and listen to Madhvacharya. So when all his disciples were asking about who's next, who's going to be writing commentaries on your all your scriptures, on your books, he pointed out to this bull and said, this bull will write commentaries to my book. Right? So everyone is surprised. How can a bull write scripture commentaries to it's but a mere animal. It does not even, it cannot even think, forget reading scriptures in Sanskrit. But in course of time, this bull passed away. And in next life, it was born as Jaya Tirtha. Okay, so you see the connection now. So Jaya Tirtha is, and it said that once Akshobhya was sitting on a river bank and preaching to some group of people, and he sees this man who's riding a horse, and instead of getting up, and this man gets down from his horse to drink some water from the river. How do a general human being drink water? They'll scoop some water in the hand and drink water from the river. But this man was putting his whole face into the water into the river and drinking directly from the river. So this Akshobhya Tirtha, he pointed out to this man and said, what are you doing? You're drinking like you're an animal, like a bull from this river. Are you a bull? And when Jayatirtha, this person heard about this comment, suddenly he remembered his past life, how he was a bull in his past life serving Madhvacharya. And instantly he goes to Akshobhya and falls at his feet and takes sannyasa. Right, and he was initiated by Akshobhya Tirtha like this as Jayatirtha from there. And from here, Jayatirtha has written a commentary on many of the literatures written by Madhvacharya, and hence he is very famous in our sampradaya. Now, from here comes Jnana Sindhu, Dayanidhi, Vidyanidhi, Rajendra, Jayadharma. Many of these names, if you go back to our Madhva Sampradaya, you may not find these names in Madhva Sampradaya, because remember when mostly when we call out disciplic succession, most matas will, whoever is the Pitadipati for that mata, they will list them as the next disciplic succession. But that's now not how our Brahma Gaudiya Madhva Sampradaya recognizes our disciplic succession. We go by Shiksha Sampradaya. So there are many names here. These are prominent disciples of the respective guru who further spread the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, and they may not have been prominent Matadipatis or Diksha initiated disciples as such, but they are prominent Shiksha disciples of the gurus. So you understand it that way. Okay, then you further have okay, we have further got Purushottama, Brahmanya Tirtha. So all these names are different Shiksha disciples of these gurus. Then now the name over here, Vishwa Tirtha, is another prominent teacher, guru in our succession, Vyasa Tirtha. It's a very famous name. And Vyasa Tirtha is incarnation of Prahlada. Okay, he has two very famous disciples, especially in Karnataka. Does anyone know who they are? Vyasa Tirtha.
Raghavendra Swami.
No.
Raghavendra.
In Karnataka, who are they?
Udupi.
Yes. Who's that?
Vyasaraya.
Yes. Vyasaraya, no. Kanakadasa.
Kanakada. Okay.
Yes, yes. And there's another one. He has written many songs.
Purandaradasa.
Purandaradasa. So this Kanakadasa is incarnation of Yama, and Purandaradasa is of Narada. Right? So you imagine Vyasadeva here is Prahlada's incarnation, and Purandaradasa, his student, is a Narada incarnation. So ulta, right? Originally Narada is the teacher and Prahlada is a student. Here Prahlada is a teacher, Narada becomes a student. So that is our Guru Tattva. Very complicated, and we need to put a little more effort. Yes.
Akshobhya and Vyasa Tirtha, both are Prahlada.
Vyasa Tirtha is Prahlada, Akshobhya is Dhruva.
Dhruva, okay.
Okay, and so here, then further comes Lakshmi Pati. Lakshmi Pati is somewhat closer to our Sampradaya now, because Lakshmi Pati, like everyone was praying to Krishna, but he was praying to Balarama. Okay, so he was constantly praying to Balarama and saying, Balarama, when are you going to give me your darshan? And he was pretty senior by this age. So once Balarama does appear in his dream and he says, Avaduta will come to you tomorrow and I'll give you a mantra, Guru mantra. You need to recite this to that Avaduta and initiate him into the parampara. Okay, this Balarama, we should remember, his Adi Guru. So he is coming to Lakshmipati. He's giving that mantra to him and is initiating Lakshmipati himself, so that who is this Avaduta is talking about? He's talking about Nityananda Prabhu. we have heard about Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. So this Balarama was talking about Nityananda Prabhu. So he's telling that this Nityananda Prabhu will come to you. He's an Avaduta and you need to initiate him. So Balarama himself comes, initiates Lakshmipati, gives him the mantra, and then prepares Lakshmipati to initiate Nityananda Prabhu. So he had to make his own preparations to get Diksha from the Guru here. Right. And next, when Lakshmipati opened his eyes and opened the door, Nityananda Prabhu is right at the door. Right. And he initiates Nityananda Prabhu immediately. From there, Lakshmipati, it said that Nityananda Prabhu shows himself as Balrama to Lakshmipati, and he says all these things that's going on about me being Balram and all these mantras and all this episode that just happened. It's a very confidential pastime, and you should not talk about this to anybody else. Lakshmipati agreed, and next day he left his life. Okay, so Lakshmipati initiates Nityananda Prabhu, but you can see that Nityananda Prabhu is on line 21, which means to say that Nityananda Prabhu, did he take initiation from Madhavendra Puri as well? What do you think?
Shiksha Guru.
He's the Shiksha Guru. So Madhavendra Puri is another disciple of Lakshmipati, much senior. He had initiated him much before. So Madhavendra Puri is next in line. Now Madhavendra Puri is the guru who popularized or established Radharani worship in our parampara. Right? In many of the disciples of the current Madhva Sampradaya, they do not pray to Radharani. They do not accept Radharani, especially if you go to the Madhva Mutt in Krishna, they don't pray to Radharani, right? Many of them may believe, think that Radharani was there, but maybe she was not as famous as, the North Indians are projecting them to be, or, maybe she did not exist at all. There are many philosophies like that going on. But actually, it was Madhavendra Puri. He re-established the worship of Radharani in our Sampradaya, right? And then how do you understand this then? Why is Radharani not mentioned in our scriptures? Isn't Radharani mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto? Why has Shukadeva Goswami not mentioned Radharani?
Mataji, is it because Lord Chaitanya, basic incarnation, it was combined of Krishna and Radharani?
That we understand, but why was Radharani not mentioned directly in? This is not a question related to our Guru Sampradaya. It's a generic question. Why is Radharani not mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam?
Maybe because of the Siksha Guru succession thing, Mataji, because Radharani.
Because Radha is a feminine side of Krishna himself, right? So,
Okay.
Radha.
No, I'm not asking why Radharani is not in the disciplic succession. Forget the disciplic succession for a minute. But the reason why the Madhva Sampradaya says that Radharani does not exist is because in Srimad Bhagavatam, Radharani is never mentioned. Right? So why was Radharani never mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam? They give that reason.
Because Radharani and Krishna are one, because it is they are not separate.
But still they were separate. They existed as separate unit. Don't we talk about Balram and Krishna? So why not Radharani and Krishna? Why wasn't that mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto?
Radharani, she got the highest position.
Okay.
Nobody is there.
Sorry?
Krishna's pastimes, mainly focused on Krishna's pastimes.
Isn't Radharani part of Krishna's pastimes?
Yes, Mataji.
So the reason why, and this is a reason that you might hear why, because Radharani is not mentioned, will not worship Radha. This is a reason many might give, and so we as part of the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement, we should not be confused by all this tattva. We should understand what's the reason behind this. Now, Shukadeva Goswami is speaking Srimad Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. And all this recitation is happening in the space of 7 days, right? Shukadeva Goswami in his original form is a parrot to Radharani. And he has the most most love for Radharani. It's said that his love for Radharani is so much that even if he thinks of Radharani or recites a name, he'll faint there in ecstasy. But here, when he's reciting Srimad Bhagavatam, he just had 7 days and 7 nights to complete the whole Srimad Bhagavatam recitation. So he could not waste time talking about Radharani, because if he faints, it will take days for him to recover. And by then, Parikshit Maharaj would have lost his life. So he very intentionally, during his recitation, did not utter the name of Radharani because of his love for Radharani. You see that? In the original scripture, she is mentioned, but in the recitation that Shukadeva Goswami gave to Parikshit Maharaj, Radharani is not mentioned. Nowhere in the 10th canto, Radharani is mentioned as Radha. Okay, that's the reason. But there are many references to Radha as the topmost of gopis. But though Radha is not mentioned directly by name, he does mention about the topmost of gopis. And this is where some confusion is existing within the Madhva Sampradaya on whether Radha Rani is prominent gopi or not, or if it was some other gopi, or was she like any other gopi to Krishna. So all this tattva came, but we should understand that Radha Rani is the prominent gopi. But because of the shortage of time, Shukadeva Goswami never mentions her. Okay, let's come back to the Guru Parampara. So Madhavendra Puri. So this Madhavendra Puri, it said that in his old age, he was so, he had become so ill and disabled that he could not get up from his bed. Okay, and he had a disciple called Ishwara Puri. Ishwara Puri. So this Ishwara Puri would take care of all his requirements, whether even if he pisses or passes stool or urine on the bed, he will clean it with his own hand and serve his Lord, master. And so Madhavendra Puri was so happy with Ishwara Puri that he blessed him to say that, may you get the name of the Lord completely in your heart. May you have the wealth of the love of Krishna in your heart. So he blessed him like that. So this way, Ishwara Puri becomes a very dear a disciple of Madhavendra Puri, and he becomes very famous. It says after Madhavendra Puri passes away, Ishwara Puri goes and meets his co-brother, who's Advaita Acharya. Advaita Acharya was in Navadvipa. Okay, so Advaita and Nityananda are both Shiksha disciples of Madhavendra Puri. Now he goes and meets Advaita, and he stays in a house in Navadvip of a person called Gopinath Acharya. Okay, and this is where he first meets Lord Chaitanya. Lord Chaitanya back then was Nimai. So every day Nimai would come to Gopinath Acharya's house, meet Ishwara Puri. They will have long discussions, debates on Krishna, Radharani, all these very spiritual topics. And Lord Chaitanya had the deepest of love for Ishwara Puri. So this way they would meet every day, spend a lot of time together. And eventually Ishwara Puri went back to his traveling, and he went to different parts of India. It's said that once Lord Chaitanya goes to Gaya, and there he sees Ishwara Puri in a big crowded place. He sees Ishwara Puri again, and he was so dumbstruck because he had already accepted Lord Ishwara Puri as his spiritual master. And here, when he sees, he faints looking at Ishwara Puri, and after recovering after some time, he begs from Ishwara Puri to initiate him as a disciple. Okay, and this is how Nimai becomes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay, and in same line after Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, remember Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, so far we are under the Madhva Sampradaya, but he didn't completely agree with the philosophy of Madhva, where Madhva say that it's a Dvaita Sampradaya. Dvaita means we are two, right? The Supreme Soul and the Jiva are two different entities. So Madhvacharya preached the Dvaita Vedanta. So Lord Chaitanya didn't completely agree to this. So he tweaked the philosophy a little, and then he made it, give me a second. So, so Lord Chaitanya did not completely agree with this Dvaita philosophy. So he, the same sampradaya, but he gave a new flavor to it, and he called us Achintya Beda Beda Tattva. Achintya means inconceivable, right? Beda Abeda. So simultaneously, we are one and different from the Supreme Soul. So that's how he put it. And also from the each of the sampradaya, he took the goodness of each sampradaya. Like for example, from the Sri Sampradaya, he takes Shuddha Bhakti, and that is Shuddha Bhakti, which is free from karma and jnana. And from he also takes Vaishnava Seva from Sri Sampradaya. So he took those features from Sri Sampradaya. And then from Rudra Sampradaya. And the Mula Guru of Rudra Sampradaya is Vishnu Swami. He picks up full surrender in prema. Okay. And then from the Kumara Sampradaya, where Nimbaraka Swami is the Mula Guru, he picks up the love of Gopi, the Gopi Bhava, the devotion of gopis, right? And from Madhva Sampradaya, he's taking Advaita Kandana, okay, which means to say anybody who preaches Advaita, which means we are one with the Supreme Lord. So Kandana, destroying any kind of debates or philosophy that promotes Advaita. So he took each of these things, anything good that he saw from each of these four sampradayas, he brought it all together. And within the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya, he came up with a new tattva called as Achintya Beda Abeda Tattva. So the Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu first brought in this special stream. It's like a big tree, and in the tree we have a small branch. So Lord Chaitanya is a branch out from the big tree. Similarly, Raghavendra Swami is another small branch in the Brahma Madhva Gaudiya Sampradaya. So he's another branch in the big tree. So Lord Chaitanya brought a little small difference to that by picking up all the goodness from the four sampradayas. Then from Lord Chaitanya, we have Rupa, Swarupa and Sanatana. Rupa, we know he's a disciple of, and Sanatana, they were both serving the Muslim Nizam. And later when they met Lord Chaitanya, so Rupa Goswami, immediately he gave up his post. He was, both of them were in good position as a governor of under this Nizam. But he immediately gave up his post, distributed all his wealth, and went to serve Lord Chaitanya. And after taking instructions directly from Lord Chaitanya, he has wrote many, many books, but most prominent one is Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. Then comes Sanatana. Sanatana also wanted to give up his job immediately, but he continued serving the governor for some time. And when the governor realized that this person wants to leave, it said that he captured Sanatana and put him in a prison. But Sanatana somehow managed to escape from the prison. He met Lord Chaitanya in Varanasi, and after getting instructions directly from Lord Chaitanya, he again, they were given, Rupa and Sanatana were given one direct instruction from Chaitanya to go to Vrindavana, settle in Vrindavana, and look out for all the lost old temples, old scriptures that are hidden within Vrindavana. Okay, so by this time, because of the many Muslim attacks, many government changes, many of the transcendental places within Vrindavana were lost. So the instruction of Lord Chaitanya was to Rupa and Sanatana to go find all these old places and scriptures. So they spent, both of them, Rupa and Sanatana, settled in Vrindavana, and they were continuously looking for all these places within Vrindavana. Now, further here is Raghunatha Dasa and Jiva Goswami. Now, this Rupa and Sanatana had a third brother called Anupama, and Anupama's son is Jiva. Okay, and after that, Raghunatha Dasa. Raghunatha Dasa was actually from a very rich family. Okay, and he was so impressed with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he made many attempts to leave his family, escape from his family, but his father would capture him, bring him back, keep him behind closed doors. But somehow, once he met Nityananda Prabhu, and this Raghunatha Goswami, actually, if any of us are aware of the Chidadahi festival that we celebrate in ISKCON, he is the one who instigated this whole Chida Dahi festival. Once in a year, we mix Chida dahi, some kind of fruit, sugar, and we make a nice relishable offering to the Lord. And all of us enjoy that day with just chira dahi. So Raghunatha Dasa, he instigated this whole chira dahi festival as well. Then in line comes Krishna Dasa. Krishna Dasa is very famous for what one book that we often read. Does anyone know what's a famous book of Krishna Dasa Kaviraja?
Mataji, Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Chaitanya Charitamrita. Yes, yes. He's written the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then we have Narottama. What is Narottama Dasur famous for? Have you heard about this Vaishnava songs, Narottama Das Thakur?
Yeah.
Yes, he's known for his Vaishnava bhajans. If you have this book called Vaishnava Songs, many of these songs are written by Narottama Thakur. Then
Is it
comes
Mataji Jai Radha Madhav? Jai
yes,
Kunjan Hari?
yes, Narottama Das Thakur. And he also wrote, give me a minute if I'm not wrong. Shri Guru Charana Padma. Shri Guru Charana Padma Kevala Bhakati Sadma. So Narottama Dasa Thakur also wrote that Shri Guru Charana Padma, which we pray every day in the altar to Srila Prabhupada. Right? Then comes Vishwanatha Chakrabarti Thakur. Right? Why is one called a Chakrabarti Thakur? Because he is a person who keeps roaming all over, and he's like Shivaji Chakrabarti. Right? Why we call? Because he's gained victory all over the world. So this Vishwanatha Chakrabarti Thakur is called as such because of he's wrote many literatures like Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita. He's even written purports to the books of Rupa Goswami. So because his books of on his translation on Bhagavad Gita is called as Sararthi Varshini. And his translation on Srimad Bhagavatam is called Sarartha Darshini. So you can try to get these books if you like to understand Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam further as well. Then comes Baladeva Vidyabhushan. Does the name Baladeva Vidyabhushan strike any chord with you? We heard about him in the last class.
Yes, Mataji.
Yes.
The dedication of
Yes.
this Bhagavad Gita, as it is.
Yes, it
to
was given to Baladeva Vidyabhushan
Baladeva.
because
Yes,
of his work for Govinda Bhashya. Right? So it so happened at this time that the Sri Sampradaya, the Ramanuja Sampradaya, they are called as Ramanadis. So these people, they had a problem with this particular Radha Govindji temple in Jaipur. The king at that time had given the maintenance of Radha Govindji temple in Jaipur to Gauda Vaishnava Sampradaya people. Right? So they had a problem. They went to the king and said, these people are not even authorized. They don't even have a Bhashya for Vedanta Sutra written yet in the Gaudiya Sampradaya. So they are not authorized Sampradaya. So you should remove them from the maintenance of this temple, and you should pass on the responsibility to us. So they try to convince the people, the king in this way. Though the king was favorable to Gaudiya Sampradaya, however, philosophically, he could not defeat them. So he wrote to Vishwanatha Chakrabarti Thakur and say you should come here immediately and somehow defeat all their philosophical debates and ensure that Vaishnava Sampradaya the Gaudiya Sampradaya is established back in this temple. So by this time, the Vishwanatha Chakrabarti Thakur was pretty old. So he sent Baladeva Vidyabhushan to take care of this business. Right? So what he did, Baladeva goes there. He, sets up. He debates with everybody in the Sri Sampradaya. He established the authority of what the Gaudiya Sampradaya was saying. So after all the debates was done and everyone was defeated, they still did not have. They had only one rebuttal after that. They said there's no bhashya for your for the Gaudiya Sampradaya, so it's not authorized. So Baladeva Vidyabhushan. So all this while Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said Srimad Bhagavatam is a bhashya on its own. We don't need another translation. Bhashya means translation to Brahma Sutra or the Vedanta Sutra. So Lord Chaitanya had so far as maintained that we don't need another bhashya. This is good enough. But because this Sri Sampradaya or Ramanidis were so insistent on having a bhashya, so the king told Baladeva to come up with a bhashya. I don't know whether it's in one day or in 1 week. He was given a certain time, definitely not more than 1 week. And so within this time, Baladeva had to come up with the bhashya. So he was wondering what to do because there were so many scriptures to translate in Vedanta Sutra. So he was not sure what to do. But it said that Lord Krishna came in his dream and he said, you write a bhashya. It's okay. I'll take care of it. I'll recite the bhashya and you start writing. So Baladeva started writing the bhashya, and within that stipulated time of 1 day or 1 week, whatever it is, he was able to produce the bhashya. And from there, Gaudiya Sampradaya was established as a authorized Sampradaya. Okay. So another person who took Shiksha from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. Jagannath Das Babaji. Okay. He's also prominent. And from Jagannath is Bhakti Vinod Thakurji. Right. And Bhakti Vinod Thakur, his Shiksha Guru is Gaur Kishore Das. Now this Gaur Kishore Das, he actually had taken Diksha initiation from another Bhagavat Babaji. This Bhagavat Babaji was initiated by Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj. But anyway, he took his Shiksha initiation from Bhakti Vinod Thakur, and Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj is hence in our line. This Bhakti Vinod and Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, they are famous because Bhakti Vinod Thakur was trying to find these places like many years after Lord Chaitanya in Navadvipa. It said that Ganga had entered Navadvipa, and many of the places which were the birthplaces of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his different leelas, all those places got hidden, were lost. So Bhakti Vinod Thakur was trying to rediscover these places many a times. And it said that once when he was looking across Ganga, he saw a light shining in a specific place. So next day, he took Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj, who was so disabled and old by this time that he could not even walk. So his servant carried him in a basket, a weaved basket. So Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj is sitting on a basket, and Bhakti Vinod Thakur is walking along with them. Right? At one spot, where they saw this light, glowing light, Jagannath Das Babaji, though he was old and disabled, suddenly he became so excited. He said, this is the place, this is a place. So, which meant to say that this is a place where Lord Chaitanya was born. So this way, Jagannath Das Babaji and Bhakti Vinod Thakurji, they rediscovered all the places of the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Navadvipa. Right? And further in that line, we have Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur initially asked Bhakti Vinod Thakurji, who is his own father, to initiate him. But Bhakti Vinod Thakurji said, no, because you're my son, I cannot initiate, because if I set up a precedent like that, then everyone will do father, son, and then it'll become a sampradaya on its own. So he said, go and ask initiation from Gaur Kishore Das Babaji. And Bhakti Siddhanta is said, of course, because he had listened to Bhakti Vinod Thakur, Gaur Kishore Babaji. So he knew about the caliber. But Gaur Kishore Babaji was a little, he liked his privacy. In other words, he liked to be alone and meditate on the Lord. It said that sometimes when he sits alone in some place and people who just come and touch his feet disturb him, so he would just go to the most dirtiest part of the world, like a toilet or dustbin. He'll sit next over there and sit and meditate. So the surroundings didn't matter to him. All that mattered is that he's able to remember the Lord without any disturbance. So he was such a recluse character, Gaur Kishore Babaji, right? So Bhakti Siddhanta, when he goes to him the first time, he said, no, I'm not such a great devotee of the Lord. Don't disturb me with all that. He went again and again and again. And then he tried to put a recommendation through his father, through Jagannath Das Babaji. Nothing worked. Finally, Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he grew so desperate that he decided to commit suicide. He jumped into Ganga and commit suicide. right? And when that happened, Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj finally saw how dedicated this boy is, and then he initiated Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakurji. Right? So that's how desperate we need to be to get initiated. Diksha should not be something of, something that is done because of social pressure, or because it's a in thing to be initiated by this specific guru. But, I'm still not completely surrendered. I can't give up my, 4 regulative principles. I can't follow it quickly, but I still want an initiation. That should not be our mood. Our mood should be that those small details don't matter at all, because we are more dedicated to the more important aspect, which is surrender to Krishna. If that becomes the only objective, then all these small disturbance would not really matter to us. Like Bhakti Siddhanta, it did not matter. It said that if I'm not going to get initiated into the Sampradaya, then this life is not worth living. Right? And if life is not worth living, of course, the small material desires were anyway not material to him. Right? So that should be a mood of anyone who wants, Diksha. But more important than Diksha is Shiksha, right? Learning. And Shiksha does not have to come from one specific guru. It can have multiple gurus. You can have 3, 4, 5, 6, any count that you want. So keep studying, keep understanding this philosophy, right? Don't be in a hurry to get Diksha for the sake of getting Diksha. Okay, once you are convinced, what you're, why you're taking Diksha, what is the importance of Diksha. Think of all these gurus in the disciplic succession. How many gurus, so many sacrifices done to establish ISKCON, sacrifices to set up, spread this philosophy without any adulteration. So many sacrifices have been done. So our mood when we surrender to this sampradaya should be in a similar manner, that we are surrendering so we can serve the Lord. Right? It's not for our own glory. It's to serve the Lord. And finally, the most famous one, 32 over here, is A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Of course, all of them are famous, but we know A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada because he's a founder Acharya and the backbone of our whole ISKCON Sampradaya today. Right? So with that, we'll end the introduction class for today. Is there any questions on anything that we discussed today? No questions? Jai. Okay. Yeah.
This disciplic section, you get any, small write-up, something like that on each and every person?
We'll get a small write-up.
Yeah, if you don't mind, it's
You'll
really
have to go back to the recording and do your own write-up, Prabhu. There'll be multiple books.
Okay.
On, there's not one single, maybe there's something in the book counter, I'm not sure.
Okay.
But it will be a manual activity.
Because so many things are there, like,
That's why the call is recorded. So you can go back, listen, make notes.
Okay, sure.
And make sure you have your required. So make sure you're making notes. I know a lot of things were discussed today. These are topics each guru is, we can spend hours and hours talking on each of these guru, but somehow by their mercy, I was able to summarize them all in 45 minutes or less. But of course, I've done a shoddy job trying to explain their glory, because it's not enough to talk about them in such a hurry. But it was important to establish their glory before we get into understanding Srimad Bhagavad Gita. Sorry. Right. So I was thinking I'll start Bhagavad Gita chapter 1 today, but we'll start it on Thursday instead. Okay.
Wednesday,
Ganesh Prabhuji.
Is it on Wednesday or Thursday?
Sorry, Wednesday. Wednesday, 7 p.m. Jai. If there's no other questions for the day, we'll end the class. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo evacha patitanam bhavanebhyo vaishnebhyo namo namaha.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Pranam.